The new NBA and MLB season is in full swing, and BetOnline has you covered with the best odds and biggest promotions and live in-game betting on all your favorite teams. Head to BetOnline today to stay updated on all the action. BetOnline, the game starts here.
They created an empire by putting our unmentionables front and center. Originally conceived to give men a comfortable place to buy lingerie for women, it wasn't until the brand refocused on women themselves that it became a global icon. But after years of unrealistic beauty standards, controversial leadership, and increasing competition, they find themselves having a new identity crisis. Is there a brand aid big enough to fix it? We'll discuss all this and more on this episode of On Brand on Victoria's Secret.
We're all jazzed up, nearly having a cow. You want your favorite show, and it's on right now. It's on brand.
Hi, and welcome to On Brand with Jon and Marisa. I'm Jon.
I'm Marisa, and my laptop is missing.
We've just spent 15 minutes looking for a laptop in a very small room. And
I feel like I am a newscaster at like a small town news station reporting about a hurricane.
With your pages of notes.
I have pages and pages of
9
notes.
pages of notes.
So if you hear some paper rustling, that's what it is.
Whenever you finish a page, you have to like do the hard tap on the table and then go to the next page.
You said that you've lost something in an unexpected place.
While we were looking for your laptop, it reminded me of a story, and I'm going to keep everything a little vague. I was
Why?
Because in case the person's listening, this was never revealed. I worked at this place for a very long time, one of those offices where you've been there so long, everyone's very comfortable with themselves. And we had this boss, I guess, like manager who just people didn't love. And we had like a big meeting in the conference room. And then everyone dispersed, and I hadn't left yet, and a couple of people hadn't left yet. And he came back, and he was like, "Have you seen my, I don't know what, not like a briefcase, like his leather folder, whatever that's called."
Attaché?
Not, yeah, sure, his
What?
His attaché. And we hadn't. And then he scurried around. He's like a little hummingbird, like always like, bleh. So he buzzed around, couldn't find it, and left. We were talking, and then I looked over at like, we had a big like television because we in television production, we watch cuts and stuff. And on the VCR was his thing. And it was the exact same color as the VCR. Like there was no way he was ever going to find this thing. And we didn't tell him. And we would just check in on it throughout the day and make sure that he hadn't found it. And now looking back, that seems mean, but it was just.
Wait, is that what you're doing with me? With my laptop? Is my laptop stuck to the silver fridge? The silver dishwasher?
It's just right under my own laptop.
I mean, it might be.
This is your laptop.
I'm very happy to be reporting live in studio with my notes.
This just in. Victoria's Secret.
Breaking news, you learned that you can go to 7-Eleven and fill any vessel for 99 cents.
This looks like water. It's Diet Coke.
So previously you thought you had to have a special cup to get a 99 cent.
I carry around all my old 7-Eleven cups and take them into 7-Eleven and get them
Yikes.
I don't think that's a yikes. I take them home. I wash them. I clean out the straws. I take them back. I get a 99-cent drink. It's an ordeal. But...
I stand by my yikes.
Okay, so yikes might be appropriate, but it saves me like 79 cents, so it seems worth it. Bigger news, I got a text from my niece today, my niece Janie, who I went to go see Taylor Swift with in Cincinnati a month ago, and she was sending me pictures from the Crocs outlet store. She is one of 2 people that reached out and has said that they are buying Crocs because they listen to our show, and now they feel like they must own a pair of Crocs. So she was shopping for Crocs, and she sent me, I was like, listen, go ahead and get some Crocs. She's like, are you going to get some? And I was like, at some point. She said, and then she gets mad. She said, you said you were going to get some. And I was like, well, I said I could see myself at some point getting them. I don't know if that's why you've driven to this town to go to the outlet store. But I said, listen, just don't get into the gibbets. And she sends me the gibbets at the outlet store. We'll post a picture of this. It's something like buy 12 of them, get 14 free. So they just want you to walk out. And she's sending me a picture of all the gibbets. I don't think she ended up buying those, but she did buy a pair of pink Crocs, which I feel like we should get a commission on.
I'm thinking of just like outlet rejected giblets that, like, I know they're called gibbets, but canonically with us, they're called giblets.
Giblets. It's like The Office, but with one F. It's like
Yes.
everything's just like a little. It's like
little off.
It's like the Eagle Rock Mall. They have
Yeah.
J-Dude giblets.
I'm imagining the things that just like didn't sell, whatever. They were like too timely and then too niche, whatever, and they ended up at the outlet. And,
Like
and now,
Octomom.
yeah,
They've got the Octomom, and then you get all 8 of her giblet babies.
Jon and Kate plus 8. It's all octo parent themed. Oh my God. Actually, okay, so there's 13 holes
Okay.
on each croc. I would actually love to have one shoe be Octomom. So you have 8 kids and then Octomom, and then you have 8, 9,
You have
10, 11,
extras.
2 extra. So you could be like a lawyer and like maybe like an Us Weekly. And then Jon and Kate plus 8, you have 8 kids,
A
Jon
similar
and
thing.
Kate.
Right. It's funny that you mentioned the 13 because my niece, this all started because she wrote me. She's like, I looked at my fake Crocs and they have 45 holes. I was like, how could there be?
That's fitting a lot of sticks in. That's
that-
all I'll say.
How could there even be 45 holes? Like, that seems like it would be all whole.
People across the nation have been counting the holes on their Crocs since that episode dropped.
Wait a second. I'm sure mine are real. 48, 49. I've got a bad feeling about this. You said no more than 13.
If you get past 13 and you're only a fifth of the way through your Croc, let's just say you might have a fake on your hands. And the fake Crocs have no idea how to remedy this. They can't figure out how to get only 13 holes per shoe.
And I'm sure the holes are just a different enough size that their giblets don't fit in them.
Absolutely.
But I did like that we learned that there's Croc outlets. So if you have listened to that episode and you're inspired to get Crocs, find your local Crocs outlet.
A friend of mine, she was listening to the Croc episode and she was like, I was worried you would say that you don't like Crocs because she wears Crocs. And I was like, no, I absolutely love them. And then I was like, I'm already thinking about which color to get. This is just turning into Crocs part 2. And she was like, a friend of mine used to work at Crocs and I was telling her I want to get Crocs. Like, or she was telling her friend who works there. And her friend was like, get the color bone. It's like an off-white. She's like, bone goes with everything.
Bone.
Because you get overwhelmed with like what colors to get. She's like, just get bone.
Does it look like you just don't have like skin?
You have like big skeleton dino feet. So I'm going to get bone. I'm going to start with a neutral. And then I think my strategy will be to get, and maybe this is just like the Croc strategy. You get one neutral and then you get one wild one. So
and you
you're
wear
like,
one on each foot?
Sure.
I love that. I do love that.
One bone and one tie-dye. Covered in giblets, Octomom or Jon and Kate plus 8, whatever you're feeling.
I mean, honestly, that feels very Midwestern mom because there was that fad where like you would paint one nail like a rebellious color, or you'd have like one strip of hair that you dye
One
like
little hot pink streak.
yeah, just to feel a little bit naughty.
That's
so.
very on brand with my identity as a
Mother.
stay-at-home mother.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well-
that tracks. The only way I can like tap into any former self, like creative, self-expressive part is through my Crocs, because all of my life, my identity pours into my children and like their creativity and self-expression. So only on my Crocs do I get to truly connect with my former identity.
I love that. I'm excited to see that happen.
I might have to visit the Crocs outlet.
Yeah,
Get a good
we'll
deal
find
on
the
some
Crocs
giblets.
outlet.
Well, today we're talking Victoria's Secret.
Yeah.
Victoria's Secret is, I'm sure, even just saying the words Victoria's Secret,
Conjures up.
it's conjuring. I'm stirring inside with memories, fears, excitement.
The place in the mall that I never go to. It's like a place in the mall that I just walk past.
You only smell it when you walk by.
Yeah, because of all the perfume.
All the
and because
perfumes.
I'm gay, I don't even like try to like sneak a peek to see if I'm going to see anything.
So when I say the words Victoria's Secret, you feel nothing.
I feel dead. Like, I feel absolutely nothing.
Was there, I feel like I know the answer, but was there ever like a Victoria's Secret catalog laying around your home?
No,
Even with your 2 sisters and your mother?
no.
There was never a Victoria's Secret laying on the kitchen counter.
No, we can go through the whole house. The answer
Maybe-
will always be no.
Maybe on your dad's nightstand.
No.
Maybe a bathroom.
Huh? No.
Garage floor.
No.
Oil spill.
None. And I had 2 brothers, too.
Hamster cage.
Actually, I mean, now that I think about it, I don't know if it would have been that popular in Ohio in the 80s. I don't know when their catalog really got popular. I do
And
have
you'll
to
find out today.
I have to confess a little something.
Oh, God.
I know that we like to take turns leading the episode,
Yeah.
but now I have an excuse. You reached out to me, and asked if I could help write the intro, the cold open, which I did. But to do that, I needed to know a little bit about the brand. So I watched a 3-part series on... I watched 3 hours of Victoria's Secret. So I'm somewhat informed.
Okay.
But I'm going to act very surprised throughout this episode.
Can you practice your surprised face?
Sure.
So let me say, like, did you know that Victoria's Secret began in 1987? Sorry.
It was 77. So no, that one didn't work well. Maybe this is a good thing.
Did you know that the first store was at Stanford Shopping Center in Palo Alto?
No.
That was really good.
Thank you. I actually didn't know that.
Well, why would you know that? That's a stupid fact.
Yeah, who cares? Why are we even putting that in the pod? We'll cut that out. No, this is going to work out fine.
Thank you for being honest.
You're welcome.
Victoria's Secret, for me, it was like a touchstone of adolescence. You grow boobs, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge thing in and of itself.
I did do that.
So you remember that part of it.
Yeah, I remember that part of it.
And asking your mom to get a bra, not from like Kmart, but to be like Victoria's
I want to be
Secret.
sexy, Mom.
I'm ready. I'm 13. I think it's time for something. I want lime green.
Oh, you know. Do you remember your first bra?
No, I remember my sister had some Victoria's Secret bras that I kind of inherited. It was just very adult. It like felt like I'm becoming a woman. This is where I shop now. I remember having a Victoria's Secret like shopping bag and saving it. And like if I had to bring like a diorama to school, being like, I'll bring it to school in my Victoria's Secret shopping bag.
Wow.
Just to show the other 7th graders that
I'm a woman.
I'm a woman.
I'm a woman too. Wait, do you remember the first time you actually wanted to purchase a fancy bra? Because for me, the only fancy undergarment I've ever had is I went through a phase, I think it was in late high school, maybe early college, where I bought a pair of silk boxers.
Oh, boy.
I think that's a very normal...
You bought it for yourself. It wasn't like you were in like 11th grade and you told your mom, like, I'm ready. Okay.
No, I don't think I bought them myself, or probably shoplifted them myself. Yeah.
Knowing you definitely did.
I remember them. They were green paisley silk boxers, and they were like my special occasion undergarment.
What happened to paisley?
What happened? It'll make a comeback.
Paisley was like...
It was everything.
Everywhere.
Yeah. It'll come back. But when was that for you?
I'm buying stock in paisley.
I don't know that... Okay, well, we won't...
Low, sell high.
Was there a moment when you're like, I want my first beautiful bra?
I remember, I feel like it was middle school, maybe 8th grade, convincing my mom, I don't know how much convincing there was, but broaching the subject that I wanted a zebra print bra.
Wow.
Zebra print, also what happened to zebra print? Zebra print was like very iconic for the late 90s.
Never
early
been
2000s.
that into animal print things.
You would not have liked the Victoria's Secret fabric selection in the late 90s
It was a lot of animal prints.
A lot of animal print, leopard, zebra, cheetah. Yeah.
I do feel like we went through like a jungle phase as a country during that time.
We've emerged wiser. Won't go back.
Banana Republic sold like actual like jungle clothing. I wanted them so badly. They had those pants that you could unzip them at the knee and they turned into shorts.
For when you're on your safari and the humidity is getting to you.
It's getting too hot. Then you need to chase an animal.
My question is, what do you do with the flaps?
That's a great question. I'm assuming they were probably cargo pants, so they probably had big floppy pockets.
Is that why the pockets are big on cargo pants? Is to stuff your flaps?
But I mean, that's probably how it started. We'll have to look it up.
Wow. Okay. Next week, cargo pants.
We will answer that question. Do you remember your first foray?
Foray, yeah.
Forte? What's the word?
Foray.
Do you remember your first foray? Do you remember the first time you went to Victoria's Secret?
Stuck the landing. Nailed it. I don't remember the first time, but I distinctly remember the stores, the way they looked. The pink and black, light pink and black was a very prominent color scheme back then, which, I mean, still they're kind of, we'll talk about that later, they're still kind of trying to rebrand, figure out what their new color palette is. But hot pink, black lacquered furniture, ornate Victorian luxury, high class, money, business, sexy, tits up, ass out, thongs, bikinis.
This is the meeting.
This is the meeting. I mean, this literally probably was the meeting.
That's the Victoria's Secret that you had always known.
And there's still remnants of that. It was like that when we went.
I was trying to get you to the founder's vision of the store.
Of the store? Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. Do you want to get into the history? We can jump in.
Yeah.
So the year is 1977. This guy, Roy, and his wife, Gay Raymond, they live in Delaware, and he was noticing that when he went to buy undergarments for his wife, which, by the way, my husband's never went out and bought me a pair of panties.
Didn't he give you a coupon for a free panty?
And they stopped doing that in 2016.
That is actually the first time I did ever go to Victoria's Secret with you 10 years ago, because we were at the mall and you're like, I have a coupon for a free panty.
Honey, I was always claiming that free panty coupon. They stopped doing it in 2016. You'll learn about the slump of 2016 because 40% of the people who used the free panty coupon left with only their free panty.
Wow, that would have been me.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. And I would have saved up a bunch of them and tried to fight the expiration date and be like, I'm here for 40 free panties. Walked
out with a blue IKEA bag filled with free panties.
And then never use them. They would just sit in a drawer. But listen,
this isn't about your storage unit.
We'll each have an episode of the pod where we can just talk about our own problems.
So at the time, the undergarment market was mostly Fruit of the Loom, Hanes, Jockey. These are all great brands.
They're good brands, but I feel like underwear probably at that time was not a thing.
No, it was a pack of 3 at a department store, and then lingerie was your honeymoon, your anniversary. It wasn't meant to be a part of anybody's daily life, and you had to go to a specialty shop like a Fredericks of Hollywood, which would have feathered boas and sexy costumes. It just felt like they were 2 totally different occasions: your daily life and then your 15-year anniversary where you dress up like a sexy pirate,
a naughty girl. I do feel like I don't know much about Fredericks of Hollywood, but that did always feel kind of like naughty girl place.
Exactly.
Like role play or something.
For sure. So trying to kind of bridge the gap between the every woman and, her little sexy secret underneath her polyester blouse, a working gal in the 70s. Mm-hmm. So he felt a little pervy when he was going to buy lingerie for his wife. He's going in there, he's feeling the bras, he's sniffing the panties.
Jesus. Don't they just smell was he open for a return?
He was feeling like a pervert, so he wanted to.
Well, he should have felt like a pervert.
Listen, I don't know if he was sniffing them, but all I said was he felt like a pervert, so I'm assuming he was smelling them.
Got it. No, there is something very I can put myself in that time. Mm-hmm. It's you're just this guy in an underwear shop. Yeah, it feels. Underwear was secret back then.
Did you ever go bra shopping with your any of your sisters, or were you ever dragged along bra shopping?
No, the only thing I remember ever dealing with in that realm at all was when my mom got pantyhose, and I just remember that she got them in those eggs.
The eggs, yeah.
They were legs, but I feel like she just got them at the grocery store. I feel like they just had a little display of eggs, and she would look for her color or whatever.
Bisque
or bone or whatever she was at.
I love a big rack of eggs at the grocery store.
I would love for that to have a comeback.
I could talk about that for days.
Hi, this is Chris Howard, host of Plugged In with Chris Howard. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for all your sports betting action. BetOnline has more ways to stay in on the action with the latest odds, news, scores, even live in-game betting while the games are being played. With the largest selection of odds on everything from Major League Baseball, NHL, and UFC, and professional golf, BetOnline remains the number one source for all your sports wagering info. In between games, head over to the BetOnline's casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino. BetOnline, the game starts here.
Find yourself looking for a new job or change in career? Monster.com is here to help. We are not only here to bring you job postings, but also AI interview prep and salary tools, expert career advice, and top-notch resume services. We've got everything you need to land your perfect job fit. Discover the magic of finding the ideal job with Monster.com. Your future starts now. Visit Monster.com today. Your next job opportunity is just a click away.
So Roy felt like an unwelcome intruder, his words, in the lingerie department. So he spent the next 8 years studying the lingerie market.
Wow.
So then in 1977, he borrowed $40,000 from his family and $40,000 from a bank to establish Victoria's Secret. Now, this was intended, his vision, a store in which men could feel comfortable buying lingerie. This is a store for men.
That seems really specific.
It's really specific.
Especially since men aren't big shoppers, Or at least at that time, I don't feel like men were big shoppers.
Everything about it is absolutely stupid.
And this may be stereotypical. Don't you feel like in movies at that time, if a man was going to buy something for his wife, he would always have a secretary do it. So it would be a woman.
It seems obvious that a store that caters to women would be marketed toward women, but they don't get to that till later. So his idea was this will be a place men will feel comfortable shopping for their panties for their wives. The store was named in reference to Queen Victoria and the refinement of the Victorian era, while the secret was hidden underneath your clothes, your sexy little secret, Victoria's Secret. So the first year of business, he had one store in Palo Alto. The first year grossed $500,000 in sales, enough to finance the expansion from a headquarters and a warehouse to 4 new store locations and a mail order operation, which became a big part of the brand.
That $500,000 seems like a lot of money back then.
It does, yeah. From just one store, that seems huge. So he sent out his catalog at a cost in 1982 of $3, equivalent to $9 today to customers. It costs $3 to send out a catalog to a customer.
Okay.
And catalog sales were 55% of the annual sales.
So it was money well spent.
Money well spent. Yeah, they made $7 million in 1982. So it's pretty good. You think maybe he's onto something. Maybe men all over Palo Alto were sweating with perversion in the lingerie department. And then they were like, finally, there's a store for us.
Now I can get a catalog sent straight to my house. And I'm
to masturbate to in the bathroom while my wife tends to the children.
I love it when you go dark.
I think a lot of men
masturbated
to Victoria's Secret catalogs. And I know, my husband being one of them.
Well, I mean, from what I've heard, men used to masturbate to the Sears catalog. So if they're able to get off on that, I would think that the Victoria's Secret catalog, I'm assuming, was quite an upgrade.
Fairly provocative.
Because I don't know if this is true or not, but my understanding was that those early catalogs were almost like soft porn.
They were still quite demure, though. It was like Victorian backgrounds. It was meant to seem kind of refined. In the early catalog, they got quite sexy later on.
But it's like soft focus.
Yeah, maybe like
a
Cinemax.
Rose. Yes.
Yeah.
Skinemax, yeah.
Skinemax.
Yeah.
So this guy, Leslie Wexner, now this is an important name because he is a big player in the Victoria's Secret story.
Okay.
He discovered Raymond's store in the early 1980s. And he thought it was unique. He hadn't seen anything like it in his travels. And though he was interested in purchasing Victoria's Secret, Raymond was initially wary of meeting Wexner. And in their first meeting, he even said it was as if he had met the devil.
Wow.
So he was very perceptive, maybe even psychic. Actually not, considering his fate. We'll get to that.
But he's also, someone that's created a small business. He's got a handful of stores, and this other guy is kind of like a retail mogul.
I'm assuming he's very protective of his brand, but 6 months later, Victoria's Secret starts to tank and is headed towards bankruptcy. So maybe he made some bad business moves, maybe sales were slumping, and then Raymond reached out to Wexner and said, okay, fine, let's talk selling the business. In 1982, after 5 years, Raymond sold the Victoria's Secret company for $1 million to Wexner with its 5 stores, 42-page catalog that was making $6 million a year. So I guess even with the $6 million a year, that wasn't covering the cost. The company was in the toilet. He finally sold his company to the devil. This is where things start to take a turn for Raymond. So he sold the company for approximately a year. He stayed on as president, working to start a new company, an upscale children's store. That's not kind of doing well.
Bye-bye, baby. That's a callback.
Raymond invested $850,000, but then the company had to file for Chapter 11. And because the company was not incorporated, Raymond was liable for that $850,000.
No.
I'm laughing, but it's very sad. He had to sell his homes, his cars. He kept trying to generate business ideas. Nothing was sticking.
Why are you laughing? This seems like a
He
nice
jumped
guy.
off the Golden Gate Bridge. It's sad. It's so sad. And his wife said it was because of his business failures.
Is this how you're going to react when I pass?
I mean, honestly, if you sold Victoria's Secret for $1 million and then you're watching it like explode in malls and stuff, I get it. It's one of those sad things that's just so sad that like you burst out laughing at the funeral. Some people do that.
Wow. Well, that's a very sad story.
Not all stories are happy.
No, that's true.
This is capitalism. Okay?
Wow.
There's some fallout.
This pod has really changed you.
In 1983,
Okay,
though
1
Wexner,
year later.
he's focusing on revamping Victoria's Secret sales model towards a greater focus on female customers. So this is okay, where we're kind of coming into the new era of Victoria's Secret. Why do we have a store selling women's clothes for men. It should be for women.
It should be
Obviously, this is how he's making his $1 billion a year with these great ideas.
Right.
So now they started selling underwear, new colors, patterns, styles, sexiness, but it's like tasteful and glamorous. It's not snobby like European luxury lingerie. It's like made to feel accessible for an everyday woman, appeal to female buyers. They had an address on the catalog that was a fake London address to make it feel like, it's very European.
Yeah, they had a whole thing about like anything coming from Europe, I think Americans found very intriguing at this time.
Are you intrigued by Europe?
I don't think in the way that people were back then. One of the things, I don't know if you watched that whole Hulu thing.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're going to get to this, you can tell me to be quiet.
No, go for it.
In their training video, they had made Victoria. So there was like this whole thing of like, what would Victoria do? Is this something Victoria would agree with? Like it was just this fake person. And the people that worked there apparently were so into it. Like one of them was like, so when do we get to meet Victoria? And it's like Betty Crocker or any of these other kind of like idealized women that these corporations put on a brand.
Yeah, I thought that was strange that they didn't even tell the employees that it wasn't real. It was like they committed so much to this story that it was more important that people believed it than that they knew that it was not true.
Right. It's almost cooler that I could see why they would think it would be almost neater that they don't know it's true, that they also believe it.
It's like working at Disneyland and being like, when do we get to meet Mickey?
Yeah, that real mouse.
Are you wearing Mickey?
I am.
When do we get to meet that real mouse?
That real mouse.
And then the boss has to be like,
hey, I can't do.
That's your Mickey.
I don't do voices. So.
Hey.
Isn't that what he says? Like, hey, kids, I don't. Well, you do one. You do one.
Oh boy.
Oh wow, that was really good. I never knew you could do that. Wow, that was really good. We'll do Mickey soon.
We'll definitely talk Mickey someday.
Hey, kids.
His famous quote, hey, kids. Remember that from Steamboat Willie.
I know nothing about Mickey. I hate that mouse. I'm kidding.
You're wearing Mickey.
I know, but go on.
So now Victoria's Secret, it's banging. 100 stores by 1986. It's sexy. It's high-end. It's great prices. It's accessible. And then in 1993, they come out with the Miracle Bra. And this was like their direct competition to the Wonder Bra. So this was what I'm naming as peak cleavage.
What is so the Wonder Bra already existed and was doing well. I don't know what either of these bras are. If you could dumb it down for me and everyone else, that would be great.
So you know how the boobs usually hang like down and in the front?
Nope.
So imagine like mushing.
I thought aren't some small and pointy?
Some are small and pointy. Some kind of go down, some slump, some fold, some hang, some droop.
Most of the breasts I've seen are from National Geographic, and those are usually very hangy.
No Wonder Bra there, honey.
Okay.
So some women like, instead of having the boobs hang down and like dangly, to be like mushed together so that there's like a line in the middle.
Cleavage,
exactly.
Cleavage.
Yeah.
Okay, that I do know.
Cleavage.
Yeah.
Have you ever worn a bra?
No. Have I? I bet I have in like a sketch.
I'd love to see you in a miracle bra, see what kind of miracles we can make happen.
If you want to know what size I am, well, we'll talk about that.
So I'm calling this peak cleavage. I think just like in American history, pop culture, this was just like the obsession with pushing the dangly boobs together to make a line was like on the forefront of every American's mind.
And that's what the Wonder Bra did.
That's what the Wonder Bra did. And that's what the direct competition, the Miracle Bra did, Victoria's Secret invention, the Miracle Bra in 93, selling 2 million within the first year.
So they kind of did the same thing. It was just like, it's like Coke and Pepsi, but of bras.
Yeah, and they had a very sexy commercial to kind of say like, we're coming out with our own version of it. The point is, women were supposed to push their boobs together to make a line, and they had to pick a team, Wonder Bra or Miracle Bra, and 2 million women picked Miracle Bra. And then 1994, the next year, was when Wexner had the idea for the Victoria's Secret fashion show.
Okay.
Have you ever seen the Victoria's Secret fashion show? It's quite risque.
I haven't seen it, but I'm aware that this is a very big thing for this company, or was.
It definitely...
This is like where the angels came into play, right?
Yeah, so the models are walking the runway with their big angel wings. There would be like a special jeweled bra that would be like made by a designer, like as $1 million worth of jewels. I mean, that's just saying these words out loud. It sounds insane that this was like an appointment viewing for like American families. Like imagine sitting down with your dinner and being like, it's time to watch the Victoria's Secret fashion show.
Oh, it was on like network television.
It was on, I believe, ABC.
Wow. So once this is an annual thing.
For 23 years.
Okay, so we've entered the 90s. This Leslie guy has made the company big and everyone knows who it is. And we go into the 90s.
So 97 is when they introduced the angels. Can you name one Victoria's Secret angel?
If you had asked me that Monday, I couldn't. Today, I would say Heidi Klum. Wasn't she one?
She's a famous one. Heidi Klum, Tyra Banks, Giselle, who's the most successful. She made $400 million from Victoria's Secret.
What?
She's got a hell of a bod.
Wow.
Hell of a bod.
I didn't realize, is this where Heidi Klum became famous?
Yeah, I think it's probably her most profitable modeling.
See, I was very surprised by that.
You know her from Project Runway.
I know her from Project Runway and like television.
Yeah, she was a model definitely first. And then things started to sag.
I like that. Like saggy old titties. This woman's getting old. Not that that's bad.
What?
I don't know. Okay, so we're sagging.
So things start to sag. I'd say this is in the year 2000. Consumer trends are kind of changing. So 2000, what's your impression of the year 2000 as far as like where culture's at?
2000, I'm thinking boy bands. I'm thinking Shania Twain. I'm thinking 2000, right? Those things. Britney Spears. All the Musketeers are coming to prominence.
Y2K, yeah.
Y2K, we're all worried about what's going to happen.
People are kind of starting to shift from maybe like all the cleavage, the breasts. This is the quote of the new CEO, the breasts spilling over the tops of the reptile print bras. So maybe the tide is just starting to shift to maybe a little bit more classy, upscale. The new CEO, Sharon Turney, is now saying she wants less of a hooker look. Because if the 2000s is known for anything, it's class. Turney, who's now kind of running the company, she's trying to basically bail water out of a sinking ship. She's saying the product quality doesn't equal the brand's hype. They're kind of just like missing the mark. They come out with a campaign in 2014, the Perfect Body campaign, where they had some Victoria's Secret angels and then the words, the perfect body.
That caused quite a stir.
People don't like that, like being told that a model is like the perfect body. In 2016, the CEO stepped down. The free panty coupons stopped. The catalog is now defunct. They got rid of swimwear. Like they just...
There's no catalog. Well, I guess catalogs probably all went away around this time.
They were just at a loss. Like it wasn't making them any money. Sales are stagnating. Stock is plunging. And then in 2019, they were urged by stockholders to update the brand image and switch up the predominantly male board of directors.
This company started in 1977. It's now 2019. Like, well, maybe we should have some women on the board.
For like a panty company.
For a panty company.
Which, by the way, this is how you know that Victoria's Secret was run by men. The tag. I have owned dozens of Victoria's Secret underwear in my lifetime. There is a skinny 2-inch tag that dangles in your butt crack.
Really? It's not just printed on there?
It's not printed on.
To this day?
And if any woman had test drove these underwear, you would say, okay, I have a note. There's a skinny 2-inch tag that dangles in my butt crack while I'm wearing this, and I have to like leave work in the middle of the day to like cut it off and return to the meeting. Where are tags on men's underwear? Is it in the butt crack?
We don't have tags anymore.
No tags?
No, they're just printed.
They're printed on?
Yeah.
I mean, this is where we should be. This is why women can't get ahead, because we're too distracted.
Maybe all men's underwear companies are run by women. That's why we don't have tags.
That's smart. So they're no longer having the fashion show in 2019. Fashion show's out. Angels are out.
So everything that made them Victoria's Secret seems to be gone in 2019.
Well, they need a big shift, and the storm is coming because CEO Lex Wexner is starting to get in big trouble.
Why?
To call him naughty would be an understatement.
Okay.
But I'll call him maybe the naughtiest boy in the biz.
Wow. So he's been called the devil and now naughty boy.
In 2020, the New York Times published an expose on the culture of misogyny at Victoria's Secret. And to call it misogyny is putting it lightly. There was groping, there was like sexual bribes. It was kind of like you have to play along with this like flirtation, taking nude pictures to kind of like keep your spot in the fashion show or in the catalog. He was working really closely with this influential executive at the company, Ed Rasnick. He had a lot of sexual misconduct. He was kissing models. They're sitting on his lap. He's touching their crotch at a fashion show. And then people would tell Leslie, they'd be like, your friend, this guy, he's like grabbing people's booties. And he would kind of like, push under the rug. Nothing would come of it. If people tried to report to like HR that this was going on, they would just get fired.
Of course they would.
Classic. Mr. Wexner had some ties to Jeffrey Epstein, who was Mr. Wexner, why am I calling him Mr. Wexner? Who was Leslie's money manager, who managed all the money of Victoria's Secret, managed the multi-billion fortune. Jeffrey Epstein would pretend to be a Victoria's Secret photographer, a recruiter, and he would like meet women on the street and be like, hey, I work for Victoria's Secret. You want to like come back? I'll take some pictures of you. Obviously, he didn't.
Wow.
Obviously.
That's a bad one to be attached to.
The writing is on the wall. Wexner's stepping down. He's exploring plans to retire. So this is speaking to kind of just like societal norms changing. And so sales are declining, and then they're going to do a big shift. They're going to like completely revamp, redesign the vibe.
Where are we now? What year
We're
are we
in like 2020, 2021. So this is pretty recent.
Okay, but this is like during pandemic. This is...
It is. So you're kind of judging the sales maybe through that lens, but there's no alternative. They have to change. Like the culture doesn't want us. They don't want bombshell very sexy. They want like a bralette, something like more natural. They don't want push-up bras with a bunch of padding. They want to be like, just wear your regular titties. You're at home.
You're just it's the same reason Crocs really took off during the pandemic. People wanted to be more comfortable. And to be honest, it seems like a really good time to rebrand when people aren't shopping at malls. So
that's right. And actually for their new store plan, like from their investor PowerPoint, they're moving out of malls.
Oh.
They're moving out of malls. They kind of want to maybe detach from like the dying mall.
So
maybe.
They're more like in what? Like Americana type outdoor mall kind of places?
Maybe, or maybe a standalone. I don't know.
Freestanding Victoria's Secret on the side of the highway? That seems a little weird.
On the side of the freeway, I have to pull over onto the shoulder and go in and grab not a free panty.
Right next to Applebee's.
Honestly, it was like a matter of survival. Not to keep mentioning Titanic, a movie now I've seen 4 days ago, but they were basically on the Titanic, and pivoting in this way is their
this is the
lifeboat.
first time you've mentioned Titanic on the pod, I think.
I'm talking about Titanic constantly.
Okay, every episode will have a reference to Titanic.
Every night I watch at least 45 minutes of like Titanic behind the scenes, real Titanic footage.
I mean, it's a fascinating story.
It really is.
So it was sink or swim.
It was sink or swim. And I don't know. I mean, when we went to the Victoria's Secret store, we went to the mall, the Glendale Galleria in LA. And what was your impression of Victoria's Secret when you went?
I was surprised at how big the store is, for one. It's an enormous store with multiple rooms. I could not believe the amount of bras and panties there are in every... I was going to say every fabric, but then I started to picture like all the fabrics that are out there.
You have canvas.
You have camel fur.
Felt.
You have human skin. No, but in just such a plethora of fabrics and designs and price points, I couldn't believe how expensive they are.
Yeah, it's like $40 to $70. The high end, like the push up, the bras that are really doing the work are like $70.
Yeah, I'm such a low maintenance underwear guy. I buy like a 6-pack of like Old Navy boxer briefs, and that lasts me for a while. I just don't care about that stuff. I no longer have a pair of silk boxers because I've given up on having a special night. So I no longer need those. But yeah, it was just...
Did you ever have a special night in your silk boxers?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
You had a special night?
I had more than one. Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Did your partner comment like,
I don't remember.
Somebody's feeling sexy.
Here's the thing about silk boxers. They're better in theory than in practicality. They're super slippery.
You're slipping around?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're looking back, they're so cheesy. I'm just like this young guy laying in bed like Kate Winslet when she posed for Leonardo in the Titanic to be drawn, but I'm wearing silk boxers. Did I ever tell you about the time the woman gave me a pair of edible underwear as a gift? I worked at like a retirement home, and this girl that I worked with had a crush on me. And for Christmas, she gave me like sexual things, like kind of like as she's hitting on me kind of thing.
HR 911.
It was a different time, but I was so uncomfortable. She got me a pair. Have you ever seen edible underwear?
They're made out of like fruit roll-ups.
It's exactly what they
Yeah.
are. They're made up out of fruit roll-ups. And I just ate them. Like I literally
Just snacking on them.
was like, thanks. And I chomped them. I didn't chomp them in front of her, but I did go home and I just ate them.
I don't understand edible. I used to work at a place that the tanning salon sold edible underwear. It was a really classy joint. Open bar, edible underwear. And they were made out of candy necklace material. So it was technically like an edible thong. But then my mind was like, who's wearing this? Because you have like candy necklace up your butt crack.
And someone just down there just crunching
Sticky,
them one by
sweaty, crunching.
one. Yeah.
I don't know who that's for.
I don't know who that's for.
One time, we would have like a line that we would call that would be like Us Weekly or whoever like the PR companies were. And if a celebrity came in, we would call and be like, oh, so-and-so was at this tanning salon, so that we would get potentially like a write-up in like Us Weekly or a place like that. And I remember Ashley Simpson, you know who she is, Jessica Simpson's sister.
She had a lot of heat on her. She was like caught lip syncing. She had a few flubs.
Yeah, the SNL caught lip syncing. It's funny to say she has a lot of heat on her, makes it seem like it's like
Still going.
still going on when that was probably 20 years ago.
Yeah,
But
that fire's died down, but she didn't survive
The
it.
fire is still raging for Ashley Simpson. She cannot get a break. Somebody give her a bucket of water. So I remember she came in and she was doing a tanning session, and I was like, oh, do you want a free pair of edible underwear? And she was like, sure. And I gave them to her, and then I called the tip line. I was like, breaking news, Ashley Simpson buys edible underwear.
Oh my God.
Front page story.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it was very rude of me now that I think about it.
That is rude.
But I did eat them. I would see that they were like expired. We could no longer sell them. I'd eat them. I'd eat the expired edible underwear.
Yeah, they're good. So we've both gone through a period where we ate underwear. I love that.
I love that for us.
So one of my favorite things that we did when we went to visit Victoria's Secret, I wanted the full experience. So I got measured to find out what bra size I am.
Yes, your first time being measured
My
for a
first
bra.
time ever being measured for a bra. And she told me I was a 40D. And I didn't even know what that meant, but I'm so conditioned to be sad about whatever someone tells me any of my sizes are on my body. I was like, And she's like, well, it's probably more like a 40C. Like she changed it. I don't know what either one of them meant, but I'm a 40C.
There's no number she could have said that wasn't going to make you sad.
B.
B?
I would have liked to be a B. B means, I don't even know what they mean. B just means smaller.
Yeah, I mean, I guess technically.
I mean, shouldn't a man be no letter? Should I just be
40
like,
zero.
yeah, like I should just be the 30.
I guess she got a little deeper into the alphabet than you were hoping.
Yeah, I mean, they're there. So
They were very non-judgmental. She was very non-judgmental on measuring you for a bra.
She didn't bat an eye when I asked to be measured or anything. She was very accommodating, and I did appreciate that.
You left without a bra that day.
I
40C.
didn't buy a bra.
If any fans want to send a bra, now they know your size.
Yeah, you can definitely waste your money and buy me a 40C bra that I will never wear.
Never? Next time you see Johnny, he'll be looking particularly perky. That kind of wraps up like where the company is now. There's women in charge, all body types. The shops are now not hot pink. They're going to be light pink. Like, whatever. Like, we'll see if it works.
Yeah, I feel like listen, I feel like you're negative about it, so I'm going to be the angel about it. I'm
I'll be the
positive about
devil.
it. I feel like this will be a fun brand to revisit maybe in 6 months or a year. We'll see if any of these changes have had an effect, what the brand feels like then.
The bad boys they've gone to jail or they've been given a big check to leave.
That documentary that I watched did say that that main guy after he left the company in the first year, he made like $2 billion. He made more by leaving than he did when he was even there.
That's what's crazy. It's
So
like the
those
company
people-
gets like a PR boost by getting him out, but it's like he just gets a ton of cash.
For a brand I know nothing about, it's a fun time for them because they've kind of been stagnant. They kind of hit a bad patch and they're in a moment of transition, and we'll check in on them.
Yes, my brand aid for them would be to focus on the current needs of today's woman.
Which it sounds like they're trying to do.
She's comfortable. She's chic.
She's lazy.
She's lazy.
She nags.
She's
She
exhausted.
needs a naggy, saggy bra. No,
She
of
needs a
course, I'm
naggy,
kidding.
saggy bra.
Are you one of those people, like, do you wear bras? I know
Do
nothing.
I wear bras?
I literally don't know if you're wearing a bra right now. I know nothing about women's breasts. I literally know nothing about them. I couldn't tell you if you wore a bra to save my life.
You've seen breasts in person.
Yeah, but not often.
When was the last time you saw a breast?
I don't know. It doesn't happen very often. Oh, it happened this weekend. We were on the beach.
Oh my God.
And I looked over and this lady was like just changing and I saw her breast.
Did you freak out?
Not freak out, but it's, shocking. But I've also seen and people breastfeed too.
Did you think like...
I'm so gay that I don't understand. I don't find any attraction in breast. I know your husband, most men I know that are straight love breasts.
The round squishiness, the little circle in the middle.
I know what a breast looks like. I love it when you always try to explain something to me that's very obvious. Yes, I know what it looks like. It just does nothing for me. Have you answered my question? Do you wear bras?
Yes, of course I wear bras.
So are you one of those people like at the end, are you always like, oh, I can't wait till the end of the day so I can take off this bra? Or is it like just a whatever?
I understand that as like a universal truth, but I would say the shift has been comfier bras, which is what Victoria's Secret is trying to. So if I was wearing a Wonder Bra or a Miracle Bra, I would be happy to take it off at the end of the day. But now women are wearing cozier bras.
Would you be surprised if I told you that 80% of women wear the wrong size bra?
I've heard that before. When you're a woman, I feel like you hear that like once a week. People are telling you that. People are stopping you on the street being like, 80% of women are wearing the wrong size bra. And you're like, okay, easy. I'll get measured. Relax.
All right, let me ask you this. What do you think the average lifespan is of a sports bra?
2 years? 1 year? 5 years? 10 years?
6 to 12 months.
Oh, yikes. Nobody is respecting that.
I feel like this was written by Big Bra. Like they just want you to throw your bra.
You're really supposed to get rid of them every week.
Last fun fact I have is that women should be fit for a bra at least once a year.
Even that.
That seems insane, right?
That seems insane.
Yeah. Maybe I will do that. Maybe in 1 year I'll go back and see if I'm down to a B.
You should go every year and you should say, I just read that I'm supposed to come every year to get resized. Last time I was a 40 C to D.
I'm hoping for B to C.
Hoping for a B to C.
Well, that's all the fun trivia I pulled. I did pull a complete history of bras, but we seem like we're way past that at this point.
Complete history.
I did. Bras by the decade. I was fascinated learning about bras, like how much over 100 years they have changed and why they have changed.
So even you just saying you're fascinated to learn about bras, this does make you seem like an alien who boobs are so foreign to you that you're like fascinated to learn about bras.
I'm fascinated by the evolution of an item more than I am what the item is for.
They used to be pointy, now they're round.
And then like during World War II, when women had to move around more and go out into the workforce, they needed something that covered more of the breast and like had thicker straps and more padding. And like there was a lot more thought into each decade and why it evolved the way it did.
Was the underwire ever made of whalebone?
I didn't, of course, even with this research. Look up what the underwire was made out of.
I had to get you on one.
But thank you for always keeping me on my toes. Did you know that the word brassiere was brought into the English language in 1907?
Well, those are some very fun facts. I love a fun fact, so I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Oh, do you have a brand new news for us?
Yeah, I have some brand new news. It's a collab. It's not something that I necessarily want to try, but maybe one of our brand freaks or whatever we eventually decide to call them.
It's canon, brand freak.
Will maybe come across and be able to try for us. So out and about in the world right now, there is a mustard mobile for French's mustard, which I know I like Heinz ketchup. Some people think I like Hunt's ketchup, but I like Heinz and I like French's mustard. So they have done a collab with, who do you think? What would be a weird mustard collab?
Toothpaste? Crest?
That would be so gross. Oh my God.
I mean,
that's like 100 times worse than what they did.
I was just thinking of squeezing the tube.
Can you imagine just brushing your teeth with mustard? No, Skittles. So they've
Oh.
got mustard flavored Skittles out there that they're passing out. I don't know if you can get them anywhere but these mustard mobiles, but they're bright yellow. They're sweet and taste like mustard. It sounds disgusting. But if anyone comes across them, I would love to hear how they taste.
That sounds like a Harry Potter prank jelly bean, like a mustard.
Bean Boozled.
That's a Bean Boozle.
Have you ever played Bean Boozled?
I don't want to play Bean Boozle. I don't want to eat anything yucky. That's not fun.
I know, I agree. So yeah, thank you so much for teaching me so much about something that I kind of knew a little bit about, but I didn't know everything. So
Well, I look forward to revisiting Victoria's Secret when they redesign their stores. We can feel it out. We can resize you, see if you've grown or shrunk a cup.
I think that'll be my goal throughout this pod now, is to try to get my breast
To go down a cup size?
just to go to man size, because I don't think, like, I would like to go with maybe Alistair, because I don't think he even registers. I think you just get like a chest size.
You know, Victoria's Secret's all about inclusivity, so let's celebrate the body you have.
But I don't
40C.
want to listen. I'm all about being fine.
It has been so fun talking Victoria's Secret with you. If you're a fan of the show, please subscribe, rate, and review. Tell your friends. If you have any brands you want us to cover or anything you want to chat with us about, write to us on Apple Podcasts. We love hearing from you guys. Let's give a shout out to brand freak Karen, who she was Ho Obsessive on our last episode. So Karen clarified where Bed Bath & Beyonce came from. She said, they just said it one day. Her husband referred to the store as Bed Bath & Beyonce, and it made them laugh and it stuck. That's good enough reason for us. And it will forever be known as Bed Bath & Beyonce in my heart as well.
I want to give a shout out to Julie from Texas, who wrote us and said that if we're ever in Texas, that we should definitely take a look at the grocery store. I don't know if it's, you say the initials HEB or Heb grocery store. I think it's probably just HEB. She said that they have a cult following and we should definitely look into them. So next time we're there, we will definitely give it a look. So thank you guys so much for these suggestions and staying in touch with us, because we love communicating with you.
Yeah, and if you like the show, tell your friends, and we'll see you next week with an all-new episode of On Brand. See ya.
Goodbye.